The following program is made possible through funding from Duval County Schools.
Academic competitions, artistic performances, and exciting trips to historic places represent only a few of the great things going on throughout the district.
On today's Real School, we will see the students, teachers, and programs that represent the best at Duval County Public Schools.
Being the one country in the world where the majority
the vocational value.
Hi, I'm Chelsea Miranda.
And I'm Seth Hedstrom, and welcome to Real School, the only television show that's dedicated to bringing you the best in Duval County Public Schools.
Now let's travel along with a few of our students and teachers as they visit some of the world's great historic cities, from St. Augustine, Florida to Rome, Italy.
The Teaching American History Grant is a grant that was awarded to the Duval County Public Schools by the federal government that basically is going to enable teachers to teach American history in a more exciting and engaging manner by taking them to actual historical places, letting them relive the history, the battles, the culture, the colonization, whatever it might have been, so that the teachers can take that back to the classroom and inspire their students as well.
I love history and I love American history, and there's always so many interesting things that you don't learn in the textbook. And so this grant gives you the opportunity to go out and learn more about those things, more of the personal side about history. One of my favorites was St. Augustine, just actually getting to go through the little village and see how people actually lived. I brought back one of the nails that the blacksmith made, and I was just fascinated by that. And I really liked going to Fort Clinch, and that was just another opportunity to talk to people. The reenactors are very knowledgeable about their time period and just the things that they did. So that was just really interesting, and the kids are very interested to learn about it.
I think Fort Clinch has been the most interesting because last got out there when I was in 8th grade, and historically, when you think of the Civil War, you think a lot of Gettysburg and Antietam, but not a lot of it is focused in Florida, and I think it gives us North Florida people a chance to see our own roots in the Civil War.
company left face march.
I think this experience will help me because I like to expand in my class a lot of the resources and materials beyond the textbook. I have a classroom library of Florida-based books, also a lot of magazines and publications to share Florida stories with my kids. But I don't think anything really would beat being able to go to the kids and say, I was at Olustee, I was at Fort Clinch, and I'm relating to you what I saw. And I recommend that you also go as well.
Engage our enemy, this is the defensive battery, by firing cannons down along the walls. There's the wall this way and the wall this way. These are 2 cannon positions and 2 more cannon positions.
From this experience, I can take back to my classroom things that are not in the history book or barely mentioned. We are visiting sites that are not mentioned in our history book or a history lesson, or some that are barely mentioned. There are things that the students are asking me. They are becoming more inquisitive, and I have answers for them. I have resources. I have networks that I can share with my students. I have improved lesson plans. I have better structured lessons. And I'm just excited about it. My students are excited about it. They ask me questions when I get back.
I think it's inspired me a lot. It makes me even more excited to share different things about people of the different time periods. Just little anecdotes about how people lived, a lot of times things that aren't known in the history books. And there are things that really fascinate the students. And when you tell them the little tidbits, they're like, wow, really? So it just gets them excited about history.
I've personally had a great time. This has been one of the most fun things. It's the most fun job I have ever had. And it's something that I've always enjoyed as a child, because I had a very exciting history teacher myself, and it's because of him that I think I have this job today, and he doesn't even know that. But I think the inspiration that I received as a student has brought me here, and I think that the teachers will be able to do the same thing for their students, and that their students will be able to say that someday as well.
The La Villa Tour of Italy Choir is comprised of 38 students from our top two audition groups, the chamber singers and the bel canto singers.
I decided to take part in this trip because I thought it would be a good experience to go around and sing in different places and see other people's culture.
I'd say I'm most looking forward to singing at the Vatican for the Pope, because not many people can say that they've done that.
When everybody hears about that, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you really are. I'm like, I just can't really visualize it now, but just thinking about it gives me like goosebumps.
They will be walking where many famous men and women have walked and had life experiences. They will be seeing art for the very first time, architecture that not very many people in the world will see firsthand.
I thought it was really interesting to get to tour the Colosseum in ancient Rome, because it's been there for like 3,000 years and it's been standing for 3,000 years, so that's pretty incredible to me.
My favorite part of visiting ancient Rome was the Trevi fountain. I just liked the sculptures and just how it was all, I just thought it was pretty.
My favorite part of the trip was going around and seeing stuff that not even my parents have seen yet, and being able to go back and like explain to them different things, so like when the first time I can tell them something, teach them something.
Well, I think it's important for our kids to be involved in an experience like this because they need to see the role that music plays in other places in the world, and to be a part of that musical experience.
I could tell people how it's like, and like when they go there, I can say like, yeah, it's a beautiful place, you gotta go to these places, and you definitely gotta go to the Vatican.
Traveling with my friends in Italy has been very cool because you're like around them all the time and you get to share something as big as this with them. This will impact me in the future probably, because later on when I have to take history of Rome and Italy and stuff, I'll be able to relate to it, and I can also, when I get older, tell my children and grandchildren and stuff.
When we come back, we'll introduce you to several of the district's star students.
I'm Eric Jackson. I'm a studio musician, record producer, and songwriter. I've worked with everyone from Babyface to Dreamgirls to LeAnn Rimes to P. Diddy to Tupac to Paul McCartney to Seal. Douglas Anderson gave me the opportunity to actually pursue music where it was cool, where you had a community of students who are all after the same thing. And I can honestly say, if it weren't for Douglas Anderson, I wouldn't be a professional musician today.
Hello, my name is Jim Clark. I'm the principal of Ed White High School, and this is my school. We have an outstanding art department, both 3D and 2D. 3D being the pottery. 2 galleries have been created by those students, and a lot of that work is on display in the school. We also have a job enclave and a PACE lab, which is for our TMH students that go out on the job to different places like Golden Corral Food Bank, Michelson. It just prepares them for the real world. Finally, Fast Forward Lab, which is a brain research lab. We have a Model UN, which is very competitive at the state level. And finally, American Sign Language is a great course here taught by a great teacher. So those are just some of the things we have to offer at Edway.
Students from across the district participate in a variety of academic competitions, from spelling bees to brain brawls. Here's a look at the best and brightest of Duval County Public Schools.
I decided to be in the spelling bee because spelling is one of my favorite and best subjects.
I decided to participate in the spelling bee because I thought it would be a fun thing to do, and my parents gave me a lot of encouragement.
Last year I won my school spelling bee, and I thought it was really fun, so I decided to do it again this year.
The first thing going through my mind as I walked up on the stage was that I could do it. I was pretty confident. I was a little nervous though.
As we progressed and we were still getting sort of the more simpler words until the end, I was getting more confident.
The first word I remember having trouble with was austere, because I thought it was some kind of company.
Some words that I wasn't 100% sure I was spelling correctly when I was spelling them was Melba, crocuses, and my last word, which I got wrong, which was sedentary.
There was one word I was glad I didn't get, and it was crevice, because I was thinking of a different meaning.
I was afraid I would lose when I was at the front and he called me up and said numero 7, and I thought that was the word I had to spell. My favorite word was colossal.
My favorite word was crocuses. It's a kind of flower.
My favorite word in the spelling bee was buckwheat.
The final word that I spelled was sedentary, and I spelled it like how you would spell sedimentary, with the S-E-D-I instead of the S-E-D-E. I don't think I will ever forget how to spell sedentary.
The final word I spelled was recurrence. I spelled recurrence R-E-C-U-R-R-A-N-C-E, but it's really spelled R-E-C-U-R-R-E-N-C-E.
I think the most fun part of the spelling bee was when I started spelling my last word, because I knew I was going to get it right and I was going to win.
Congratulations.
I tied for second place in the spelling bee, and I wish I had won, but I'll just work harder next year.
I tied for second place in the spelling bee, and I felt pretty good, although I was a little disappointed. I thought I could have done better.
I got first place in the spelling bee. I think it's important to be a good speller, because if you want a job but you spell something wrong, they won't give you the job.
Right now, when I grow up, I would like to be a marine biologist or an author.
When I grow up, I want to be a doctor.
When I grow up, I want to be a scientist or a pilot.
I think it's important to be in a spelling bee because it shows you how to spell words that are unique and different than other words you might normally use in your vocabulary, and it just makes you sound more sophisticated when you know all these words.
Brain Brawl is a double elimination tournament involving most of the public high schools and some of the private high schools here in Duval County. It's a quick recall, but the questions are designed on our curriculum, so it's part of our Duval County curriculum. It's also a competition, and it's also a TV show, and those three events are not always compatible.
Stop, cut.
I was just kind of always the kid in class who was like, oh, me, raising my hand, and that's kind of what I do over here, I guess. It's like a way of being smart, and all the other kids around you feel that same way. It's not, no one's embarrassed about it. We're all like trying to get the answers and trying to speak, so it's, I don't know, it's fun. I love it.
It starts out with toss-up questions. A toss-up question can be answered by either team. Each of the students has a button, and they hit the button, and whoever hits the button first, the equipment locks out everybody else, and they get the opportunity to answer the question. If they get the toss-up right, then there's a bonus question, which can be worth up to 10 points, but you got to get the toss-up first. Then any parts of the bonus question that the team doesn't get right are now offered to the other team. We call that a bounce back, so that there's a possibility that the team that didn't get the toss-up can still get some points out of it.
The most challenging part for me is definitely the lightning round, because speed is never my forte, you know? I can think, but I can't process things really quickly. So when I'm in the lightning round, I'm like, oh, I know the answer. Oops, someone else got it.
Most challenging part of Brain Brawl would have to be working with people who are unprepared, people who don't know what they're doing and aren't prepared to run camera and are just freaking out in the middle of the show and can't keep their calm and just work fluidly, and they just panic.
And Sonia Edwards. Good luck, teams. Here's your first toss-up. What name is given to the liquid, non-cellular part of the blood?
The most challenging part was probably the first show when I did audio for part of it, and I had no idea how intense it was going to be, and it was a matter of switching back and forth, up and down on different levels.
I think working on Brain Brawl will help me with Korean television because it really helps you get used to how a live TV shows run, shows you how a real television show is run, and it'll help me in the future with my career in television.
I think Brain Brawl has prepared me. Simply the fact of working in a professional environment outside of a school curriculum. It's a lot like working at an actual TV studio.
It's important to showcase some of our best and some of our brightest. We spend a lot of time and effort showcasing our athletes, and that's wonderful, but we need to also be showcasing our best and brightest students.
I think it's good that we've won, especially since it's the first time that Stanton's won this competition since year 2000. So I'm pretty proud of us all. Okay.
When we come back, a look at two amazing performances, Douglas Anderson's Extravaganza and Michelle Puppet's Extreme Health Challenge.
I'm Ralph Churchwell, a producer-musician. I've worked with everyone from Lenny Kravitz to Barry Manilow to Babyface. Douglas Anderson prepared me for my future by giving me more than anything else focus. I was kind of all over the place as a kid, wanted to do this, wanted to do that, and the teachers here at Douglas Anderson pretty much gave me my focus to focus on one thing. Here's the goal, go after it. And henceforth went forth to Los Angeles and doing what I'm doing now.
Live theatrical performances can both entertain and educate. Here's a look at two very different performances from around the district. Douglas Anderson School of the Arts Extravaganza and Michelle Puppet's Extreme Health Challenge.
Extravaganza is a collaboration of everybody working together on the highest level of performance. It's a show about showing the best of the school. It came about 21 years ago. I created it from my experiences that I had in college on a similar situation, a collaboration with Florida State University, music department, dance department, and theater department.
My job when it comes to the big show is to make sure that every performer, whatever arts area they are from, get on the stage.
When I first walked out on the stage the night of Extravaganza, the curtain rose, and I had been sitting on stage for a little while, and the curtain rose, and kind of just takes your breath away to look out there and see all these faces staring back at you, and I was very nervous, and I'm sitting there wondering, when am I supposed to start, and what's my first line?
The challenging part was probably setting up for it. The cues, you learn them pretty quick, you pick up on them, but it's setting up for it. It's the hours that you're there from 8 a.m. in the morning till 6, 7 o'clock at night.
Probably the most challenging was being able to take what we did in November and bring it back to what we did in February and take it to a completely bigger, different stage.
The most challenging part is dealing with everyone and making sure everyone's happy with what they have and what they're doing, because I want to make sure that even though they're working, that they're enjoying their work.
But the main thing is that when we get from beginning to end without anybody getting hurt, with everybody having a top-notch performance, and that everything will flow correctly for the audience.
The most challenging part of the time was our dance by Miss Stampalia, and it was technically difficult piece and very rewarding though. It was a very classical ballet piece. It had some contemporary movement in it.
The most fun part was working with the Union Brothers because they know so much and they're so willing to tell it to all of it to you, and it's just really cool to be in their atmosphere.
At the end, I am filled with this terrific feeling of they did it. I thought I had set that bar too high.
Taking part in an extravaganza will help me in the future by getting me ready for big productions that I might be in and be able to know how a production works, and it can get you ready for life.
I can honestly say if it weren't for Douglas Anderson, I wouldn't be a professional musician today.
Douglas Anderson prepared me for my future by giving me, more than anything else, focus. I was kind of all over the place as a kid, wanted to do this, wanted to do that, and the teachers here at Douglas Anderson pretty much gave me my focus, to focus on one thing. Here's the goal, go after it.
And it teaches them how to center themselves, to focus, and to go out there and do it, and that it doesn't matter whether it's done for $2,500 or for $100.
It was incredible to work in extravaganza because of the professional theater. That's always just one thing that I like to say, is because I like that we can do our own little things here. You know, we can have our shows, but then it's kind of neat to be able to bring it to the community and just show Douglas Anderson off to people who, you know, don't normally come on this campus.
Don't ever tell me that the young people of today are lacking in any way. In any way. Certainly not in a work ethic. These kids know how to work.
Puppetry bridges communication gaps that children have with adults. If I stand up and lecture a child, they might get bored. If I use a puppet, they're completely engaged.
I know puppets are often used in therapy because kids will talk to puppets about things that they've been told not to tell adults. Well, today we are doing a show called the Extreme Health Challenge. It uses wacky and entertaining puppet characters to teach kids about the importance of good nutrition and active lifestyles. Initially, puppets developed Extreme Health Challenge to help fight childhood obesity and health problems that are related to that children face today.
Each of our characters teaches a different thing, a different angle about health. We have a character named Zach who comes in on a pogo stick. That's his thing. We encourage every kid, whether it be playing with a yo-yo or a pogo stick or skipping. You don't have to be a football player or a basketball player to be considered a healthy sport. Find something that's exercise and go do it. Zach leads into Kirk and Babe. Those are two of our characters who used to be out of shape. They tell their testimony about how they saw the show, became healthier by making better food choices and exercising. We have Rico. Rico thinks looking good means that you're healthy. He's all into clothes and fashion and how good he looks. That's not it. And then we lead into Mary, who's very unhealthy. Mary watches television all day and doesn't eat right, and she learns some things. So it's a lot of crazy characters teaching children that they have the power to choose to be healthy. I think the most challenging part is entertaining them, but yet making sure the information comes across. We did a year solid of pre and post testing with the same questions before and after the show because our funders and people wanted to see measurable outcome. You know, I'm going to go do a puppet show and teach kids about health, but they want numbers and they want to see a result. And we did that, and I think that was a very challenging part of our job. We want you to have fun at the show, but can you take a pop quiz afterwards and get the questions right if you're K through 5th? And they did, and I'm very proud of that.
I learned today to exercise and eat healthy foods.
My favorite part of the show was when the football player and the cheerleader came out to answer the questions. I learned that healthy choices are important to keep your body healthy and strong. The most fun part is the energy involved. The kids get excited. That gets me excited. The kids get to interact. You can see the kids learning as the game goes on. You watch them understand the message, and that's the coolest thing.
I learned to be healthy and exercise every day.
The most rewarding part of doing the show was when a little kindergartner who you think might not get the gist of the show, maybe they're just having fun, walks out and goes, I eat an apple, or something, you know, when you understand that they get it. Or you have fan mail that comes to you that says, hey, I thought I was chubby, now I feel better about myself, things like that.
Now for our question of the month. What is the best part of attending Duval County Public Schools?
The best part of my school year, I'll have to say, was the first round of playoffs, which is Niceville. And I think we were like down to like a couple seconds, and we recovered a fumble, and then like we won the game. And so like the whole crowd ran onto the field and like started jumping around. It was the best part of my high school career, I think so.
The best part of the school year was football season. Homecoming, painting up, tailgating, moving to the second round playoffs, what I haven't done in about 4 years since I've been here. All my friends, we just come out Friday night, something good to do, hang out, dance at the football games, which I love to do.
The best part of my school year was it has to be homecoming week because you get to dress up every day, something different, and you know, show off your style and your personality. And I love like the football games, and I guess like the energy of it was so electrifying, and I love it.
The best part of the school year was the friendships and the camaraderie that I built here at Ed White. I feel like we truly became a family this year. Like when people accomplished their goals, it seemed like everyone was celebrating with you.
To learn more about the Duval County Public School System, check us out online at dreamsbeginhere.org. Until next time, I'm Chelsea Miranda.
And I'm Seth Hedstrom, and thanks for watching Real School.
When we come back, we'll...
That was weird.
What's that?
From spelling bees to brain brawl. Here's a look at the best and brightest of Duval.
Sorry. You have to leave. To learn more about the Duval County Public School System, check us out. Do I look like I'm slouching if I sit back? I feel like I'm slouching. Oh, I was sitting like I was like...
The preceding program was made possible through funding from Duval County Schools.